Hello. So thanks a lot for this great introduction. I finished my presentation yesterday. Firstly, I would like to say a big thanks to Smuggler sitting there, who is responsible for proofreading, technical proofreading of my presentation. I prepared this presentation especially for this Congress, so this is my first presentation of this presentation here. I would definitely appreciate if it will be some kind of more collaborative. So if you have any question, just raise your hand, ask. Don't hesitate to do that. The name of my presentation is How Governments Push Forward the Security of Crypto Markets. So, firstly, I realized that security of crypto markets is a very sensitive topic. So, it probably is not very cool for white hat security companies to do any research or any security analysis of crypto markets. The second reason is probably they do not have full access to these crypto markets. For example, source code. They can see this crypto market only from outside, like the most users. The security of crypto markets is critical, is crucial. So I mean, if it fails, it can lead to imprisonment or death of hundreds, or even thousands, many often innocent people, or massive theft of their cryptocurrency, their possession. I found some IT security related papers to crypto markets, but unfortunately they were paid, so I couldn't use them. What I can say after my analysis that some crypto markets may have even better security, like the most popular social network, or for example Gmail. So let's come back to the first version of Silk Road. Despite the fact that the Silk Road market was one of the most popular crypto market ever, and it was probably the most successful crypto anarchistic project ever, with a revenue $1.2 billion, it was not very secure, but it was the first one. So it was a single server with no decentralization. There was potentially quite vulnerable PHP application, so it was possible to make some PHP attacks. There was no second factor authentication. In that time, no one knew something like multisig, and of course, in that time also we had just bitcoins, not true anonymous cryptocurrency. But despite all of this, it took more than 2 years for FBI to reveal people behind a Silk Road market who, and now we can definitely say this, who underestimated protection of their digital privacy. So yes, it's true. Unfortunately, sometimes operational security can save your life. We can see it, unfortunately, in the case of Ross Ulbricht, the guy behind Silk Road market. Exactly 1 year ago, we had a great presentation at this place from his mother, Lynn Ulbricht. Okay, so now I would like to describe all new cool, secure features that are implemented in the current black markets, the crypto markets, that were not integrated, or they were not part of the first Silk Road version 1. If you are more involved in the IT security industry, you may know something like PCI DSS. It's a standard made by Visa and MasterCard. And thanks to this standard, if you want to process any credit card information, you need to enforce second factor authentication. So if you are, for example, bank, and you want to process credit card numbers, you definitely need to be PCI DSS compliant and implement second factor authentication. Implementing second, but the reason why the most crypto markets decided to use second factor authentication is completely different. They really don't care about something like PCI-DSS. Fortunately, second factor authentication is implemented in all modern crypto markets. And in some cases, for example, AlphaBay, probably AlphaBay is a crypto market, most advanced crypto market with the most features and most security features. In this case, it's mandatory. Almost always, when I did this analysis, second factor authentication is implemented like PGP private key owner verification. So as a second factor authentication, they provide you some encrypted text encrypted by your public PGP key, and you need to download this text, decrypt it on your desktop, and write back to the market some decrypted hash or some decrypted text. And after that, you are already verified and you can log into the crypto market. I was a bit surprised that something like synchronous OTP, maybe you know Google Authenticator, which is pretty common in case of most Bitcoin services, is still not used. There are maybe two different reasons. The first one is that crypto markets probably do not believe in smartphone security. And the second reason is probably they just want not to be dependent on some third party, or at least as possible. Anyway, despite of this, if you have enabled two-factor authentication, it is possible to set up something like one-time passport just for one-time login to the crypto market. Another interesting thing when you compare crypto markets to typical e-shops is that they do not provide some feature like sending password reset emails, because this is considered not to be a good security practice. Many crypto markets solve this using something like mnemonic phrase, which is displayed you for the first time when you're registering to this crypto market. So it's the same like seed of your Bitcoin wallet. You just need to read and to note 8 English words. And if you know these English words, in the future, you are always able to retrieve your forgotten password. Anti-DDoS protection. So DDoS attacks are critical for these Tor hidden services. During technical evolution of Tor, these distributed denial of service attacks have been changed over time. Now, probably the most efficient attack against distributed denial of service is a very specific flooding attacks to rendezvous points. If you know the Tor architecture, you definitely know what is rendezvous points. So also, this second situation, which is pretty difficult to do for the normal people, but not so difficult for governments, because the government potentially can have access to multiple Tor nodes. They can do some very specific and aggressive distributed denial of service attacks from different nodes, and consequently perform some statistical measures in order to compromise Tor security. So this is possible to do by government. Also, many crypto markets, as a protection against distributed denial attacks, they use something CAPTCHA. I did some analysis of this CAPTCHA, and I found out that in all cases, in 100% cases, I was able to crack this CAPTCHA. But it still can be enough protection against stupid attackers. Another interesting point is that some crypto markets, for example, AlphaBay, they implemented something like double Tor security, what means they're a bit slower, like other crypto markets. They try to encapsulate Tor connection in another Tor connection. Smuggler told me, I can provide also explanation why this is not definitely good practice, because these connections can be compromised on the editor exit node. Also, what is quite interesting that there are public Tor and private Tor gateways for many crypto markets. In case public Tor gateway means that it's an official public onion address which is available for everybody, and usually this onion address is under regular strong denial of service attack. But if you are a trusted crypto market user, it's quite likely you will receive something like private Tor gateway address, especially generated for you. And thanks to this, you can access to your favorite crypto market. But of course, there is anonymity risk because your identity is always associated with your specific Tor onion address. So from this point of view, if you care about anonymity, it's definitely a better idea to use public Tor gateway. Contracts. This is also something completely new. So Alphabet dark web markets introduced something what is called contracts. What basically means that every user in crypto market can make contract about anything with another user. This contract costs you $5 in Bitcoins, and it's paid to the market administrator, and you can agree on anything you want, basically. So, for example, if you're on vacation or you're too busy, you can delegate it to some other people and decide other people to do behind you. Okay. There is another mention from the Alphabet administrator. Hitman will never be allowed, and we don't want to this kind of attention. So most crypto, this quite important to say. Most crypto markets behave quite ethical. I think so. They don't allow hitmans. They don't allow child pornography and so on. Another feature which is quite new, and most people who are using Bitcoin, they have never tried something like this, is a multisig. Like multisig is supported, for example, by a recent version of Electrum, so you can try to do something like that. Basically, it means that you can generate and use so-called multi-signature addresses, which are controlled by more than one people, by 2 or 3 people. So thanks to this, you can decide about transfer, about money transfer, Bitcoin transfer, depending on their confirmation. So, for example, you have 2 or 3 signature addresses jointly controlled by 3 people. Usually, one is buyer, the second one is seller, the third one is site operator. So if any 2 people, for example, buyer and seller, or buyer or site operator, decide that the transaction is approved, everything is fine, the money or cryptocurrency is moved to the destination address. Okay, this is some more detailed description of how multisig exactly works in Alphabet. So you can see it later if you want to try it. Tumble your bitcoins, or mix your bitcoins, launder your bitcoins. So there are multiple ways. So the problem of Bitcoin, you definitely know, is that the Bitcoin has public transaction history. So it means that all Bitcoin transactions are public, and anyone can see this transaction. So for example, at least at this time, there are 2 or 3 companies in the world which are able, which help secret agencies, like for example FBI, NSA, DEA, and to track potential criminals, and they are expert for Bitcoin blockchain analysis. So if you want to protect against this, I think I strongly recommend you to use some kind of mixing services or tumbling services. Probably one of 2 most popular which are recommended by crypto market vendors are Bitblender and Grams Helix. For example, it is possible to even use mixing services based on BitMessage, which is supported recommendation from Outlaw Crypto Market. But my favorite recommendation, and not only mine, is when you want to mix and when you want to reveal dangerous transaction history, is to convert your bitcoins to Monero, which should be the true anonymous cryptocurrency, and then back to bitcoins. And in the ideal situation, you should use two different exchange services. You can use blurtrade.com if you want to exchange Bitcoin to Monero. And if you want to exchange Monero back to Bitcoin, you can use poloniex.com. Anyway, so this is probably most safe way how to tumble your Bitcoins. Okay. Maybe now there are many different approaches how to implement true anonymous cryptocurrencies or much more anonymous cryptocurrencies compared to Bitcoins. There are many different approaches, for example, Zcash or Dash, but probably one of the most stable and used by crypto markets in production, as a production use, is definitely Monero. So two biggest crypto markets like Alphabet and Oasis, they support Monero. And if you want to do any secure transaction at the crypto markets, I strongly recommend you not to use Bitcoins and switch to Monero. I would like to describe two important characteristics of anonymous currency Monero. One is low traceability, and the second is some kind of privacy. As you can know, the Monero uses a special system that allows you to send, receive your cryptocurrency without your transaction being publicly visible. This is really important. So it basically means that any your purchases, receipt, and every other transfer remain private. Another cool feature is that it implements something like ring signatures. It's a quite deep math. I recommend you to study. And it means that thanks to this feature or advantage, Monero can have really untraceable transaction. So it basically means that these transactions are not impossible, but quite difficult to link to some particular users. Okay. So this is Monero chart. It's a quite new thing. I mean, Monero is quite old, but integration of Monero to crypto market is a 1 month thing. So as you can see, during 22nd August, they announced crypto markets. Now they wanted to implement Monero, and the implementation was done during this date. And as you can see now, price of Monero was quite significantly increased. So maybe it's a good idea to buy Monero at this time, and especially because now there is no good Monero wallet, and I'm more than sure when where there'll be first really good usable Monero wallet, price will be increased again. Sure access. So this is also quite interesting if you have some crypto anarchist company. For example, you need to delegate a lot of rights and a lot of accesses to your team, and still you need to do and to keep your business running. So it's possible using the feature which is called short access. And you can do that without giving your personal password to the crypto market. Crypto market API this is quite interesting feature. It's another security feature because till now I was talking about security features. Crypto market API means that it is technically possible, for example, to implement crypto market eShop aggregator. So, for example, you can make some aggregator, make some eShop, and propagate this eShop to all crypto markets that have some crypto market API. Of course, if you want to use crypto market API, you need to use a second factor authentication, and you need to use something like purchase speed, which is default in most crypto markets. What else? Inline PGP encryption to PGP webmail client. So the cool thing, wait a moment. This is, okay. Okay, the cool thing is that all crypto markets, they have your public PGP key. So technically, they're able to encrypt all your communication inside of the given crypto market, which is also called automatic message encryption. So if you want to use some crypto market, I definitely recommend you to check if it supports something like automatic message encryption. It basically means that if there is a raid from police or some secret agents, and they take all your data, all your communication is fortunately encrypted. So another cool feature is that I found that some crypto market implemented something like PGP webmail client. So it is possible to make PGP encryption inside of your browser. Personally, I do not consider this to be a good security practice because it basically means that you need to provide your private PGP key to your browser, which is definitely not a good idea. But it's from usability point of view, it can be fine because most people don't know how to use PGP and how to copy information from terminal from PGP to browser and so on. Claims on security. So the standard or best practice in case of claims on security is definitely to use. To use VPN plus Tor. There are plenty different VPNs you can buy for Bitcoin in a completely anonymous way. So I strongly recommend you to do something like that and use a VPN together with a Tor. All good crypto markets, they do not use JavaScript. So I strongly recommend you to use crypto markets which do not use JavaScript, and also strongly recommend you to switch off, to disable your JavaScript in your browser. Historically, there were zero-day exploits against Windows version of Firefox, exactly against JavaScript functionality. So thanks to this, it was possible to reveal some crypto market users and to compromise their security. Another important thing is to use Tails. Tails is a special privacy-aware Linux distribution, and I don't need to be operating system. Sometimes it is possible to use BitMessage. BitMessage is a decentralized peer-to-peer communication protocol for secure communication. And for example, Outlaw Market use BitMessage also as a mixing service. Another interesting thing I should definitely mention is a router KeyGet YellowSec Android application. This works especially very good in Prague and in Bratislava because the company UPC, they had real problems. There were they were not very clever, and they generated the WPA Wi-Fi password according to SSID. So if you see any UPS Wi-Fi network around you, you definitely should try the application router KeyGet YellowSec Android app, and just to check if it is possible to crack these Wi-Fi networks or not. And of course, another good practice is use random MAC addresses. Server-side security. So All server and client should always use full design encryption, ideally with a hidden volume. So for yes? Okay, microphone. So the question is, what is the best way to hijack IP address?
To hide your IP address from the VPN. Would you connect to? So what's the best way to hide your IP from the VPN? Since you would have your main IP showing to the anonymous VPN, would you connect to Tor first and then your VPN? Or what's the best way besides being in a public Wi-Fi?
Yeah, personally, I would prefer VPN and then Tor. But definitely I recommend you to, there are many Tor services, there are many VPN services that accept Bitcoins, and there is a comparison how they care about digital privacy, how many information they logged about you. So I strongly recommend you to make a comparison of different VPNs, anonymous VPNs, and to choose the right one that really cares a lot about privacy. But definitely, you can be never sure that information about you is logged at the VPN endpoints, and also at the Tor exit nodes, for example. So all these are things you need just to be aware that this is possible. Okay. Server-side security. Okay. Usually, servers, in case of crypto markets, are virtualized in multiple server housing centers around the world, which are paid by Bitcoins in a completely anonymous way. So even an administrator, crypto markets administrator are logging to these crypto markets through Tor or through Tor and VPN. It's necessary to mention that if you have a fully virtualized server which uses full design encryption, you are still vulnerable on the ring 0 level. So on the real machine level, you can still make a snapshot of your memory and extract keys which are used for encryption. So this is potential risk. Another some crypto market is what I already mentioned, like Alphabet. They use double trust security for extra stuff. But as I've already mentioned, this is probably not a good security practice because all connections are exposed to evil exit nodes. And also public onion and private onion gateways. These public onions are for all people. There are slower, provides more anonymity, and private ones, they are quite faster for specific users. And one of the advantages, they are faster and they're immune against denial of service attacks. Also, another good practice, which was not implemented in case of Silk Road version 1, that any Bitcoins, any Moneros should be always stored out of the web server on some completely different server, ideally if the crypto market administrator they used cold wallets. Okay, maybe not many people are aware that there are some approaches to implement fully decentralized crypto markets. So I found these three ambitious project, Axis Mundi, Bid Markets, and Shadow Markets. Now it's called like Umbra project. Unfortunately, these projects are still under development with almost no or small community. So productionally, I'm not aware that this system are used. Now, interesting discussion, Tor versus I2P. So theoretically, like I2P protocol is more secure than Tor, but the problem of I2P security is that compared to Tor, it has only few nodes, and there is a correlation between number of nodes and real anonymity. So if you, it doesn't matter how secure and anonymous I2P and good I2P protocol you have, if you can provide or if you can have only few nodes. So, what is happening? Someone hacked me. Okay. Also, there are some I2P implementation issues. I'm not sure if you have ever tried I2P protocol, but also usability of I2P client sucks. And I2P addresses are longer than Tor addresses, for example. So, but one interesting thing is, and many crypto anarchists rely on this as some kind of security by obscurity, or they believe that secret government agencies like FBI, DA, and CI, they did and they do much less research about I2P. So from this point of view, if they have any potential zero-day exploit, they probably try to target Tor networks or Tor protocol instead of I2P. But of course, this is only a question of time. If many people start to use I2P, it's quite likely that also secret agencies will be more focused on I2P security. Okay, so crypto market best practices. Definitely, they should use multi-sig. They should use second factor authentication, PGP. In some crypto markets, for example, Alphabet, two-factor authentication is always enforced. Also, some crypto markets decided not to allow something like FE, which is finalized early, unless you get explicit permission later, which is pretty secure practice for an crypto market user. And of course, in case of crypto market and crypto anarchy, Bitcoin is unfortunately a bit obsolete. You should move and you should start to use Monero or some more anonymous alternatives. Another cool feature, which is not a security feature, but it's maybe a quite practical feature, are currency accounts, which means that these accounts are hedged, what basically means that you are able to store your deposit Bitcoins in the given currency, for example, euros or dollars or something like that. So you can be pretty immune against volatility of Bitcoins. If you trust more in fiat currency, probably you can try this feature, but it will cost you 5%. Dead drops. Personally, I consider this feature to be one of the most unique and most perspective in the future. So dead drops basically means that you, as a buyer, you don't need to provide any sensitive information. It means you don't need to provide your delivery address, because if you, like, till now, if you want to receive anything from crypto market, you always had to provide your fake or your real postal address. But you're using dead drops, it's not necessary anymore. So there is a special feature of crypto markets, for example, I think it's Outlaw or Alphabet, Outlaw crypto market, they support something like drop bans, which means there is a special, there are special delivery boys, dropmen, special people who are responsible for buying stuff from some wholesalers and then to resell and distribute this stuff physically to some specific places. So, so when you order anything from crypto markets and you decided to use dropman function, this guy, he just, when you pay for that, he just provides you GPS coordinate with a short video clip. Usually it's a panoramic view of the given place. So you know exactly where to go, how the given place looks like exactly, and how and you can pick up your stuff. So the cool feature is that as a buyer you don't need to provide any personal data. Anyway, this still may be a bit dangerous. For example, if some government agents decides to be a dropman, it's quite likely there, like this guy will be able to catch all his customers. But one of the argumentation is that government police should not make a bigger crime in order to catch some criminals who are committing lower crime. But I'm sure that this probably works in some developed country, but definitely not in Czech Republic or Slovakia, because Slovak or Czech secret agents are basically gods. I think they can do anything they want. They can buy drugs. They can sell drugs. So be aware of this fact. And another cool features is that definitely way that in the following years it will be possible to make dead drops using drones, which is absolutely cool. So imagine that the drones will be responsible for taking some stuff and delivering this stuff everywhere. Even it is possible to create and to implement some special protocol that these drones will be able to exchange information and until the final destination, it will not be clear what are the right GPS coordinates. So, for example, if you are police and you catch these drones, you will not be able to extract the final destination or expected destination of this drone. So imagine that maybe something, this is just a vision, something like onion routing or garden routing will be possible to implement in the real physical world. Okay, so this is a very short deep.web crypto market comparison. You can see the most famous crypto markets. You can see which of these crypto markets use second factor authentication, which first vendor PGP, which use, for example, finalize early feature and so on. Okay, so summary, we can see that especially thanks to the government and their secret agencies and their rates, security of crypto markets has been significantly improved. It's much, much better than security of the first version of Silk Road. The crypto markets like Alphabet, the Dream Market, Auto Market, Valhalla, and all other markets are being online or keeping running many years without any shutdown by government agencies. So what does it mean? It means that the war on drugs cannot be won. And also it means that crypto anarchists are definitely one step ahead to the government. So the government, it's still slow. But despite of this fact, governments spend millions of taxpayers' money to fight this meaningless war on drugs, and they try to hunt the drug dealers and drug consumers, and it doesn't make sense at all. So that's all. Thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, Pavol. Let me ask you the first question. It's obvious from your presentation that it's very important to choose the right currency for the payments on the crypto markets. And you mentioned Bitcoin and Monero. You mentioned what are the weaknesses of Bitcoins. But very often it's talked about Dash as one of the very anonymous currencies that are very good for this way of trades. But recently, I think it was last week, Dash stated that they are going to implement anti-money laundering compliance in cooperation with Coin Prism. So I would like to ask you, what is your view if we can still trust Dash in terms of anonymity, or if it's not a good idea anymore due to this implementation?
A good question. To be sincere, I'm quite confused by this Dash decision. Why they? Because they over many years, they're building a reputation of true anonymous cryptocurrency, but now they decided to do something like this. They try to cooperate with the governments, and they want to implement know your customers and anti-money laundering rules into their project. I'm a bit confused, but some people think that it may be because the original plan, original goal of the Dash is to be an official government approved cryptocurrency, because in case of Dash, you cannot see inside of the transaction, so you are not able to find out for which you pay, for example. But you can do some aggregations. You can reveal the whole amount of money you used in Dash, for example, and usually this is sufficient for tax purposes. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm really confused, and I think this is definitely a threat for Dash. And personally, my candidate is Monero, not Dash, just because of this.
Well, thank you for this positive presentation. I like to see all the innovations. Where I see no innovation, you mentioned the dead drops, but they are not used a lot. As far as I know.
They're used. They're used.
Yeah. Is it really common? Because as far as I know, from my own knowledge and the people I know, still the most common way is to use, and this is paradoxical, the government post offices. Mm-hmm. So we still use the governmental post to distribute the stuff, which is a weak point, I would say, in the whole system. And I don't know if we see any use of private companies, private posts, or some companies like Uber that you will send the good with these services. So
I'm not aware of this. I think it can be a quite big threat for private companies to provide like anonymous mailboxes. But what I can tell you is that like these dead drops is another idea. This is fully functional, implemented things. You can try it. At least in Germany, it works, and there are many people involved in this. So this fully functional thing.
Okay, actually, this dead drops is most widely used in Russia and Ukraine, by the way. However, I have a different question.
Which market do you mean?
I mean just common Russian guys and Ukrainian who are
just to be clear, there are two crypto markets who implemented dead drops. The first one is Tochka crypto market. You probably mean Tochka crypto market, which is quite popular in Ukraine and Russian. And the second one, I think, is Outlaw crypto market that tries to target German users. Okay, ask.
Okay, actually, my question is, for me, most vulnerable point of this whole ecosystem is exchanging crypto money to fiats and back. And you just didn't cover this topic. What's the better way of exchanging fiat to cryptocurrency and back, and what is the most secure of this operation?
Okay, so I think this is something for completely another discussion. But what I can tell you that at this time there are few ways how you can transfer your bitcoins in a completely anonymous way to cash. One of these possibilities using, for example, our Bitcoin ATM machine. Okay, but what I can tell you, there are some. I'm more than sure there are some other potential ways how you can transfer Bitcoin to cash, which are more anonymous, and so there is a quite big demand for such services. So yes, there are it's possible. So for example, there are few anonymous prepaid cards around the world. Bitplastic, for example. Bitplastic. Okay, there are some limits in these cards? Okay, there are, even in Czech Republic or Poland, there are anonymous prepaid cards. So it's definitely possible to transfer like bitcoins or Monero to something like this. And also you can still use local bitcoins, local bitcoins. So you can use, and also you can still use BitSquare. You know BitSquare? BitSquare is a fully decentralized Bitcoin exchange. So even if you have really draconical legislation that the government will shut down all Bitcoin exchanges or exchanges, we can still use BitSquare, which is a fully decentralized Bitcoin exchange. So now it's not possible to shut down all of this.
Thanks. I would only add that if you exit Parapolis, turn left and go 100 meters, there is new stand where you can buy fully anonymous prepaid card, which is called Blesk Peněženka, Blesk Wallet. Yeah, there is one example of it. Next question, please.
Next questions.
You mentioned 3 decentralized crypto markets that are in development, but there is one in production, namely OpenBazaar. What are your thoughts on OpenBazaar?
Okay, so firstly, I would like to say that OpenBazaar doesn't implement anonymity yet, which means that the primary goal of OpenBazaar is to attract as much as possible users, but because of many reasons, the anonymity is not yet implemented in case of OpenBazaar. Like the problem is that OpenBazaar uses IPFS, and the other problem is that it uses UDP in addition to TCP protocol and anonymization of IPFS. And UDP is problematic because in case of UDP, you cannot use Tor, but you need to use I2P. So it's quite likely that if there is some, if the anonymity of OpenBazaar is solved in the future, it's quite likely it will be using I2P. So what I can tell you is that OpenBazaar is definitely not a good choice if you want to use really anonymous crypto market. But maybe it's a question of time, and I believe it's only a question of time that maybe in few months, few years, you can expect OpenBazaar with really good I2P implementation for crypto market use. Some other questions?
Hello. I just want to ask, if you are saying that Bitcoin is not good to use for dark markets and stuff like that because of blockchain analysis attack, if you got any of the newer wallets which actually change the address you're receiving Bitcoins every time you receive it, are you still susceptible to the attack of this blockchain analysis when your wallet's different?
No, this doesn't help. This doesn't help a lot. Of course, in case of Bitcoins, you can generate unique public address for each transaction, but this doesn't help you. Your transactions are still public and visible in a Bitcoin blockchain. So this doesn't help you at all. So I strongly recommend you, like the Bitcoin was not created or invented to be really anonymous. So definitely Monero or some other alternatives.
I understand the transactions are there in the public, but how can actually someone physically trace you when your address is always different doing the blockchain analysis attack? I don't see the way how someone could.
Yeah, it means, for example, when you make a transaction, for example, you receive some Bitcoin, someone revealed your physical address or something you order, and you use the same Bitcoins for ordering something different, and you don't use Bitcoin laundry. I think it's still possible to make some correlation. After this presentation, we can meet and I tell you more details about this.
Thank you.
A last brief question. Okay.
I have a question regarding Zcash. What do you mean, or what do you think about the Zcash that will come out in October 28?
Yeah, I think that cash can be potential candidate for alternative a competitor of Monero. Personally, to be sincere, I have no practical experiences with this cryptocurrency, but what I think that I can say that any competition is good. So it's definitely necessary to have many different anonymous cryptocurrencies, and all these cryptocurrencies, they should definitely compete each other and improve their features, anonymity and security features. So I don't have practical experiences, but even now I'm a big fan of this cryptocurrency.
So thank you very much, Pavol. Thank you for your questions. And we